Hey everybody, Josh here. Just take a look at this background. Isn't it beautiful up here? Anyways, I had a question from a subscriber. The question goes, am I going to keep building even though the market is slowing down? When he says the market, he's referring to the housing market. So I'm going to go over my opinion about doing such a thing, if I should continue building or not. And another thing I just want to explain to you is how markets kind of move. And this goes for if you're going in the stock market, the real estate market, the crypto market, whatever market you're into, these rules kind of apply what I'm going to explain to you. So there's something that drives every market, and that's fear and greed. So fear and greed is what causes the markets to go up and down so rapidly, especially when you look at things like the stock market or the crypto markets. If you look at those charts on a lot of things, they'll go straight up for a while, then they'll come down, and then they'll go straight up, and then they'll come down. So the best thing to do is to take a look at the overall trend. So you don't want to get caught up in the day-to-day volatility when it comes to the stock market, real estate market, crypto market. And the one thing about the real estate market is there's definitely more of a delay than there is with stocks. So with the real estate market, things trend in a slower fashion. And if you look at housing prices, they typically go up in a curve of something like this, and you'll have a little bit of dips along the way. But if you take a look at a stock market chart, they typically go up and down very rapidly, and that's because you can buy and sell on a dime. So you're going to have way more volatility. So something that drives these prices is a thing called FOMO. So this is where you mix greed with fear, and it's called fear of missing out. And that's how you get these crazy parabolic moves in the upward trend. And in fact, that's something to the extent of what real estate's done lately. It's kind of went up and then it's done something similar to what a stock chart would do and kind of went straight up here for a while. And we have been benefiting from this straight up movement, but now we're definitely in more of a cool down part of the market. So we're going to have to compensate for that. If we take emotion totally out of the equation and take a look at raw data, the pending home sales were negative 8.6% recently. And what pending home sales are the contracts on new houses. And if you're not familiar with that data, they are going to be releasing new data August 24th, I believe, if I remember correctly. So I'm going to be looking at that data when it comes out here in the near future. And so if you take a look at that and it's a negative 8.6%, there's clear evidence that there is a cool down. So there's no denying that. There's another great tool online that we can take a look at, and that's called the Housing Shortage Tracker. And with the Housing Shortage Tracker, it shows per region if there is a shortage in housing. So we know if there's a demand for housing if we're building in a particular area, and that's something to look out for too, along with the pending home sales. So in conjunction with both of these, we can make a good estimate as if there's going to be a demand in the future of that area. So if we know the demand in the area is there, the next thing we can take a look at is Zillow or local newspapers at the recent sales. And that is how we can determine the price in which we can ask for a house. So that's going to be a big determiner if it's worth building a house. So if we know if it costs $100,000 to build a house and they're selling for $150,000, we can clearly see that there's a profit margin of about $50,000. So for somebody like me, that's definitely worth doing. Now a big builder that has to subcontract everything out might have $130,000 in a house and only sell for $150,000. So the profit margin probably isn't there for a big builder. But for someone like me that only builds about a house a year, it's definitely going to be worth doing. So I like to go on Zillow and look at the Zestimates in an area. So in my area, I'm always looking almost every day at what things have sold for and what prices are Zestimated for. And if I've learned anything about Zillow, it's definitely going to give you a Zestimate that's lower than what things are actually selling for. That's what I've noticed in my area at least. So it may be a way different ball game with your area. So if I've already taken a look at all of those things, and then I also need to understand the principle of building a house and trying to sell it for a profit, it classifies for me building spec houses as an investment until it's sold. So every investment's going to have risks. You can take the best scenario and everything looks perfect, but there's a little bit of risk involved with any investment that your investment might go down 80% within that next year. You just never know. So investing is similar to gambling in a way. I hate to say that, but It all has risks, but with investing, you're going to have a more strategic plan to it other than just putting your money in a slot machine. So always consider that fact as well. So in order to give you the best answer to if I'm going to continue building after this slowdown, yes, the answer is a clear yes, because there's always going to be a slowdown in every market, and it doesn't mean that you totally quit investing per se. So if we take a look at the stock market, if it drops 30% in 8 or 9 months like it has recently, that's actually the golden opportunity to invest. And for somebody like me, that takes me a year to build a house, if there's a cool down in the housing market, that means lumber prices have dropped recently too. So I can actually build a house cheaper in hopes of the housing market regaining steam within the next year or two. So that's something to consider on somebody like me compared to a big builder. So I'm going to keep building, but I'm definitely going to keep my eye on the market while I prepare for the next build. So if I'm collecting all this data on how much I'm going to build, how much I can build a house for, how much I can sell a house for, and I see the pending home sales getting worse, and I just got to consider all that for actually break ground on the property. I already own the property that I'm going to build my next house on, so that's already out of the way. So I am going to continue building. And if anybody has been watching the markets recently, we've noticed that the crypto markets are up a lot from the past month. I know if you've followed the cryptocurrency Ethereum, it's up about 100% from where it was about a month ago, and Bitcoin's up a lot. The stock market, it's regained a good bit of steam in the past month. So we have seen this bounce off the bottom for most of the markets, but the real estate market, on the other hand, still seems to be, it's kind of in a downward trend. So I want you to leave a comment below to what you think the markets are going to do in the near term, and feel free to ask me any questions and I'll try to address them with a video. All right guys, I got a lot of work I got to get done today, so I'll see you in the next video, and check out this video if you want to see how to build 4 houses with $70,000. Take care guys.